What's up, guys? Welcome back. The Enlisted Real Estate Podcast, episode 18. We are now adults and can legally vote.
8.
Yeah. We got the man, Brian Baker.
Good morning.
Selling machine.
Afternoon.
Yeah. I am Richie Fortunato. And we're going to jump into it today. A big thing in the new home sales world with new home counselors is there's it's constant change. We change communities at any given time without a moment's notice. Whether, sometimes and you're closing out of a community and going to go to a new one, or sometimes management just decides to change it up and move people around. Brian Baker over here just found out he's moving.
Yep.
So he's going to get his thoughts on that, because there's a lot of things that involved on for the new home counselor side. Usually when you move from one community to another, you get, usually get 30 days to sell your past prospects. And then you have to, sometimes you're going into a community that's already established with somebody who's already been there for a little while. Sometimes you go to a brand new community. So Brian's got, what's your situation?
So community, community I'm in now is not quite finished. We're getting close. The one I'm moving into it's a bigger community with multiple phases. I want to say they've got like 8 phases or 9 phases out there. It's a pretty good size one. So they're probably a little over the halfway mark. If I'm not mistaken, from the information I've been getting so far. So it's definitely an established community. And, they've got the sales consultants there's been there since I've been here. So it's, 2.5 years, if not more. And I want to say that's where she started. So she's definitely got a good establishment, face of the community. So, that's definitely some obstacles for myself to overcome, which is, something you overcome no matter what anyways, right? You've got to market a new community and get your face out there. So that's nothing really new, but that's kind of the situation that found myself in over here the last couple of days. So
usually when a new home, like the place you're going, your future partner, she's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Every person that walks through that door, every realtor has walked through that door for the past 2 years.
Knows her. I know.
And they're going to call her and they're going to go straight to her.
Yep.
You're supposed to have an up system, but in the real world, it doesn't matter. Because,
if they come in,
new prospect comes in, it's enough. If a realtor comes in, you're like, no, I'm going to, whoever I don't know what her name is, but whatever her name is, I'm going to see her.
Yeah.
And they'll just literally start feeding her people. And you're just sitting there like,
I know.
Man, so now you have to develop, relationships or get your old, the realtors you worked with before. You got to update, let them know where you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what are you going to be trying to do to get some business quickly?
Real estate. So, I always focus on realtors. What is the percentage? 80+% of every single buyer works with a real estate agent anyways. So, first thing, and for me is making sure that I reach out, let all my primary VIPs, like I've got some really, really, really strong relationships with some realtors where we've done multiple deals. They know I'm going to take care of them as a realtor. I'm not going to make them look bad. Rather, I'll make them look as good as I can, but then I'm also going to take care of the customer. So with that relationship, those are the first ones, I want to make sure that, hey, this is where I'm going. I've got 30 days, I can still close anything in this community for anybody that we've already, registered. I can't take new customers, but, customers we've been working with, we can still work. So those are the ones I'm going to start with. And then other ones that maybe I just met, here and there, don't have as strong of a relationship, I want to let them know too. There's so many agents here in Central Florida. She probably has, easily say 50 to 100 agents that know that community. It's a real good community. Yeah. And they probably know her as being the agent for that community. So, but at the same time, what's the percentage that those agents do deals in there? And maybe it's, 10% of all realtors. So I still think that there's probably a solid amount of agents out there who do their 1 to 2 or 3 deals a year. And, just, hey, remember me, bring me the customer that you got for the area. And hopefully I'll be able to nab a couple of those, early on. So that's my primary and initial, focus kind of going in there to kick it off a little bit stronger.
Yeah. Knowing you, I have a feeling too that she's probably seen a lot of realtors. And realtors you also work with, and when you get there, they might not want to work with her anymore. They're just going to go straight to Brian.
Yeah, maybe. So absolutely.
It does go both ways. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
With with new home counselors. I witnessed it.
That's
So,
true. Well, and we've talked to agents, right? And and they talk about they typically have like their one new home sales consultant, for the community or a builder that they had that relationship, and like they, come in to see them and they follow them, and then I guess that would be a good question, in a future episode to ask one of those agents, so if two of your people get moved to the same community, well, now what do you do? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot,
whoever's working that day, probably.
Best out of three.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's big changes though. And I keep thinking about it while we're talking about, and you mentioned, coming brand new into your community because you were established. And I remember sitting there for the first like couple weeks, and it was like everybody that walked in the door was like, "Oh, hey, Richie here." And I was like, "Damn." I remember going home going, "I ain't never going to get enough." Like, I don't know if I'll ever see anybody, like I was just a greeter. So, but I mean, it's, so it's, it takes time, and then traffic comes and a lot of those are, people you've already written, right? They're customers coming in to say hi, or people already under contract. And there's a lot of people you don't realize like how many come in periodically throughout the day, not necessarily buying, but
one of the big things that you don't realize when you move is you still have to maintain all that backlog.
Yep.
Which is that's probably the hardest part of moving.
Yeah. So I'll be maintaining all mine back here at the community. So I also coming up here, the next couple of days, I'm going to be focusing on coming up with a game plan with the builders and how to make sure we're communicating. So we do a lot of weekly updates where we're communicating with the customers under construction to let them know, especially ones out of state, like here's what's happening, here's what's going on. And then, taking some photos, let them see the home as it's being built. So I'm going to have to figure out a way to maintain, the photos and getting them uploaded for them, and, conference calling, between the three of us and for however many, customers on that deal. But just making sure that the communication's still there and being present and able to answer those questions and get them taken care of. And, cause you don't want them to feel like we're just like, all right, cool. Good luck.
I'm out.
Hurry up and close, So, yeah. I mean, you've changed communities before, right?
The backlog part is the hardest part, especially I was always lucky where I had good builders. And usually I always tell people, like, once the house starts, I'm really nobody to you because I'm not building your house. So the builder is the one you're going to be in contact with. So I've always been lucky enough where most of the builders will update all the buyers. Now I'm supposed to be doing it, but I'm not the builder. I'm not building the house. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the next step. I don't know what the inspections are. So the builder's usually that for me.
Yeah. And we have one, so he's one of our senior builders here, and he's really big on, listen, like, I'm not going to speak for you as sales because that's your forte. Don't speak for me because, you got some sales who they just don't know anything about construction. If they start talking about, oh, this is what we do, this is how we do it, and then it's not done that way, or that's something way that we don't do. Now the builder looks like he looks like the asshole and not doing the job right, but in reality, you just don't know. I
think the hardest thing with moving is if you're going to a community that's been like one of those problem childs where everybody who goes there is like either quits or just they don't sell, and it's just like a constantly rotating salespeople in there. So I went to one community like that where when I left Winter Garden and went to Claremont, that was the place where everybody who went to Claremont either quit or got fired. It was a great location.
Yes.
But the problem was it was like a tier. It was in Claremont, it was such a big hill. So if you're on, and it was like 3 streets, it's only 3 streets.
Yep.
But if you were on the top of that level, you were good. It was a great view of like the water and everything. But if you're on the bottom, they had these huge retaining walls. So literally you walk outside the backyard and there's a wall. And you're like, who the hell's going to buy this? And they're charging these ridiculously people bought them. Yeah. So sometimes you got to get that out of your head. Or it's like, it ain't about you. It's not what you would buy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You still have to just show it and,
find the values in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just stay positive and, we sold, started selling, and I got, it was just like a temporary spot for me. So I was going to another one, but I was waiting for it to open. So I called Dana, and I'm like, Dana, I only got like 20 lots left. Where am I is there gonna be a home for me? Like, where am I gonna go?
Yeah.
Most important thing for new home counselors is land. Like, you need lots.
Yep.
Without lots, we have no job. There's nothing to sell. I prefer to go to a new one than an already established one. But even like when you first get hired,
you should be starting it up.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I don't know
I
where.
like that. I liked that. That was fun.
Yeah. The starting one is the best.
Yeah.
But I've also gone into community, like when I got hired at Park Square, and I go to a community where the girl there has been there since it opened, and everybody who comes in knows her. And then I have to, I just do my thing and love the one you're with, I guess, and get all your old people and make yourself stand out a little bit.
Oh yeah. But you gotta, there's a lot of agents that you work with too, even if you think about like being here and you're like, you've worked with them, but agents don't have, not all of them anyways, right? I'm not speaking on agents in general, right? So, cause you do have, I have a bunch, and they are as loyal as you can ever get. And I love that. You know what I mean? Like, and I would do anything I can to take care of them 100%. You know what I mean? But you got others who like, they don't care. They're like, I want a deal. So, I'm going to do whatever I can. It's like, okay.
I couldn't tell you how many times my partner has benefited from the stuff I've done. Like, with emails, because I'll do all this stuff and I'll sit there and I'll send out like an update of the community to all the realtors, or if I have an inventory, and I'll sit there and email back and forth from like a day or two, and I'll give them everything they need, and they're like, okay, I'm coming out Wednesday. I'm like, I'm like, dude, I'm off Wednesday. Can you come Thursday or Friday? He's like, no, it's gotta be Wednesday. I'm like, so unless I go in, then it's one
unless
thing.
You go in. Yep.
Yeah. And then they'll go see the partner, and then they end up buying an inventory home or something. And I'm like, good for you. And usually they have no idea.
But yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And then there's times where they know.
Yeah. But usually if you have a good one, they'll sell it for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that comes back to the in-house relationships, you know what I mean? Like, which is something that, talking about moving to a new community, new partners, I mean, that's an opportunity to build or to start off a new relationship with that new partner. So kind of figuring out which direction it's going to go, and, how close, and just the trust factor,
Do you know the person you're going to work with?
I mean, not like on a close, concept, but I know who she is.
Yeah.
That's about all I know.
It's a lot easier if you know the person.
Yeah, of course. For anybody thinking about getting into new home sales, don't buy a home based on the community you are selling in, because you could be here in Claremont today and in East Orange, or East Orlando tomorrow. It could change so quickly, and I mean, the builders are not looking at, where do you live? All right, let me find you a home here in general area. And because sometimes you've got to shuffle it up, and sometimes you'll get multiple sales, so there's two partners in one community, and maybe they're getting complacent, and they're not necessarily doing the things that they need to do, or there's a bad blood, bad relationship, or whatnot, and they need to mix things up. So you could get picked up out of your community and dumped in there to hopefully help pick it up and get it back on track. Right. So, don't buy a house based on
You never
that.
know where you're going to be.
Yeah.
I've worked in Claremont all the way to Sanford. So I had a realtor come in yesterday, and some realtors that, they just tell you, this one, my buyer wants 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, under 400. And that's it. They don't tell anything. And then they come in and they don't let you talk to them. They just kind of like try to take it over, and you're trying to talk to them. Right. So she takes them. She's like, I'm going to show them. I'm like, okay. So, I go out, and they were liking one of the models. It was this big 1-story model. I have an inventory that'll be done, like in October, and but it was over the price. It was like $428. So they're thinking about, can we go higher? So they're looking at it like, I really like it. They leave. They come back later in the day, and without the realtor. So now the guy's talking to me, and he's like, I love that house. We're like 90% on that house. He's like, but there's 1 bedroom. It's just way too small. He was like, I got 4 kids. the two girls share a room, and that's the room they would be in. So it's just way too small. And I'm like, oh. So I was like, are you looking for one? So they're looking for a 1-story or a 2-story with the master and all the bedrooms upstairs, right? One thing we really don't have is Watkins, why they probably didn't build a Park Square, is we don't have any houses with the master upstairs. We have 2 of them. One's huge and one's really small. So it's a big gap. They don't have like a Luciana that's like 3,000 feet. That house is like perfect. So
You still love that house, man.
Oh, I do, man. That house is so nice. So I'm like, so and I'm listening to talking, Tom talking to him, and I'm like, dude, just build this house. We have a model called the Margate, which is a 1-story with a bonus room. Upstairs, I can make this huge bedroom and a bathroom. So I was like thinking, oh, that's for the girls, right? Because they share rooms, this massive room. They have their own bathroom. And so he looks at it, and it changes up. He goes, I'll put my oldest son up here. And the other bedrooms are big size, or good size. So they can have this one and whatever. And then there's still like a flex space. Yeah, this house is perfect. And this house was like 365. And like, so, it's important for, just because somebody tells you like, this is what I want, you have to find out what they're actually looking for. Because a lot of times realtors just tell you, and sometimes they'll let you talk. So if you're a realtor and you have a buyer, bring them into a community, let them talk to the NHC. They're going to, I bet you they'll help you sell a house faster. And you want to show them so much. Because I just did it. I'm looking and I'm going through all these layout. I look online. Online is the first place I look. I'm sure everybody looks online first.
Yep. Everybody's looking online.
I'm just trying, I pick an area and I'm trying to find what's being built in the area. And I actually found a floor plan. It was a Pulte floor plan that I fell in love with, but they're sold out. So I can't have it.
What's the floor plan name?
It's called Heatherton or something like that.
Heatherton. They got one there's a floor plan that my wife and I looked at years ago. And I was like, that's a plan right there. It's huge. Yeah. I don't know if I really want that big anymore. But things like 4,500 square feet. It's just, it was big. It was big.
Yeah, it wasn't that quite that big, but it was nice. So I'm looking at the other ones because they were building a new community. And the floor plan was okay. And then one of the girls I work with, Adela, her husband works for Ashton Woods. Yep. And she's like, Rick just opened a community down in Arcousie. So I look at theirs, and they had this one floor plan called Mosley, which was nice. It was like 2,500 or so. It's not so much the square footage. It was we need certain spaces. Right?
Yeah.
So they had this option. It was this nice, and Ginger wants the 2-story ceiling, or the 2-story living room. Mm-hmm. So it had this wide open, kind of like the Luciana, where but then you had a 2-story living room. And then they had an option and I want a big lanai because we're going to build a pool. So they had this option. They just had this little lanai. They didn't have an option for extended. The only option they had was you can add like a dining room off of the kitchen, and then you get a huge lanai. That option was like $22,000.
Oh, nice.
So it went from like $350. The price went from like $351 to $373. Well, they have another one called the Vol, which is 3,500 square feet. So I had all the space we needed, and then some extra. And it was like, if I did that option with a dining room, I might as well just buy the Vol for like $8,000 more. You get 800 square feet.
True.
So that was it's not all about the room count. It's all about spaces and.
Right. Absolutely. And there's a flow to it. You know what I mean? Like depending on the way they're, whether they got kids that are sharing a room or you never know. And it's, I mean, how often do you have a realtor come in and they tell you what this is what the buyer wants. And all of a sudden the buyer's like, well, really, I want this, and that. And you're like, oh, like, how are you guys so far off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
So many times realtor, they'll come in with one thing and buy something completely different.
Completely different. Yep.
Yeah.
Has to be a 2-story floor plan. They don't even want to look at a 1-story floor plan. And then they're like, oh, okay, I'll take it. And you're like, but that's 1 story. You sure you'll take it? Yep, I'll take it.
Yeah. We had a community off of Dean Road that was not selling at all. And they were so far behind the sales for the year. And your boy Deepak over there in Saranoa, they put him in there. And at first, because I don't think he wanted to go. I think he was nervous. And a lot of times, other people you work with, other sales counselors, like, oh, dude, don't go there. That place sucks. If they're so negative. This dude went in there and just sold the crap out of that neighborhood. Basically, he sold it out in like, I don't know, 5 months maybe.
Yeah.
Change your communities. Go in with a positive mindset.
Yeah.
Don't listen to anybody. Keep that. So a lot of times you get, that's probably why a lot of times brand new people in the industry, when they get a job, they'll go anywhere, and they usually start selling.
Well, they're hungry, they're motivated, they're excited. There's an excitement, right? Like, especially if you're new, you want to make a name for yourself too. And I've seen it the other way around. New people come in and they're like, typically the ones who have been realtors, in the past. Because how many times realtors come in here like, oh man, it'd be so easy to just to be a new home sales, and like I wouldn't have to do anything. And I'm like, oh, okay, joke's on you, I guess. But it's because it's a lot of work,
It's just because everybody's coming to you doesn't mean everybody's buying from you.
Oh yeah. And when they come in, even if you get traffic that walks in that door, you think about like the competition, so I can't take them to someplace else. So if I don't sell that one person as they walk in, I don't eat, you know what I mean? Like, so if as a realtor, you get your customer, you can take them to 30 different places until they decide that they found one that they like, and cool, you get a deal. So, but I mean, there's pros and cons to both sides. And, as a general realtor, I mean, you're changing communities every day.
What's the first thing you're going to do when you get to Oakland?
Try to figure out the product. So Oakland's a very, it's a very intricate community, just with the specifications on what can be built where, the flow. Like one floor plan, you can't build that same floor plan for, it's like 6 or more lots away on either direction, and that includes turns. So like if you're 3 home sites in, if you come to a new road and it turns, it's also 3 home sites both ways that way. So I mean, there's a lot of, which makes it difficult. So if somebody comes in and you're like, oh, you like this floor plan? Well, hold on, I gotta do some research here. We can here. Oh wait, no, yep. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of stuff like that. Certain floor plans can go on a corner based on the number of windows on the side of the house. You know what I mean?
God, yeah.
So colors, shutters, there's a lot of that stuff, dealing with the ARC and county and the city and all of that. So just the coordination and making sure that it's all done and not, taking 6 months just to get through a permitting process. There's a lot to learn, and that's on top of just learning the product itself. Cause then you get to learn, what are the floor plans? What are the names? What are your elevation differences, your structural options, and, what kind of, design options does it have, and kind of learning the pricings, and there's a lot.
How many builders are in there?
I think just 3 at the moment.
So you gotta learn them too.
Yep, you gotta learn them.
It's not easy changing communities.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool community for sure. I mean, have you seen it? You've been through there?
No, I heard about it.
Yeah, it's cool. It looks kind of got like a Disney, not Disney, Celebration, kind of look to it. And I mean, so it's popular. People love it. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. So it's just gonna be a lot, trying to learn it. And I made a comment to a couple of realtors already, like, hey, yeah, I'm gonna be moving over there, and tell me about this and that, and I got somebody who might be interested, and so, which is great, but I'm trying to like dig and find some research, and like, hey, you guys got to get me set up in our computer system so I can pull this info. So I get them some information. So it's kind of the big process coming up here this week is marketing and putting like a marketing plans together for the new grand opening, and making sure we got all the materials and then the information, and I gotta get myself set up. I gotta go set up an office over there, and plus I'm trying to finish out where I'm at this week, and game plan, and I mean, I've got about 4 days to kind of make this happen, and so there's a lot to do, and then it's not, I mean, because it's not a new community, but they've been waiting for these lots to come, so they're opening up a new phase, so they're doing a grand opening, and that, so it adds to the workload for sure. So
good luck.
Yeah, thanks. It'll be a hectic week.
Well, off of that'll do it for this week with us. Thanks for listening.
Share it, Come see me in Oakland Park.
Go see Brian. He needs to sell a house out there.
I do. Kick me off right.
Check him out. Check out Brian's Sexy Face on YouTube. Give him a thumbs up. Stream us on all platforms.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Later.